My mother made me come despite my severe anemia. To ensure no one could accuse her of favoritism, I had to participate in the campus blood donation drive alongside everyone else. After the first 100 milliliters, my vision began to darken. I reached for the needle, trying to stop the procedure, but the young nurse, Diana Marsh, instantly grabbed my wrist and pinned it to the armrest. Only 100 milliliters and you're already giving up? The other students had all donated 400. She looked over my pale face, contempt flickering in her eyes. Donating blood is honorable. People who pretend to be sick just to get out of it deserve to have double taken as punishment. Nearby, my mother watched me coldly, disappointment written across her face. Anna Belova, is this how I raised you? Everyone else donated. Don't think you're special. You will finish all 400 milliliters today, even if it kills you. I gasped for air. My heart pounded so violently it felt like it would crack my ribs. By the third bag, my vision had completely blurred, and I collapsed heavily onto the floor. My soul drifted slowly upward. I looked at my mother with guilt in my eyes. I'm sorry, Mom. I really wasn't pretending. I truly couldn't hold on any longer. Diana Marsh shoved me impatiently and yanked out the needle. I'm trying to draw blood here. Can you stop moving? I'll have to stick you again. When I didn't respond, irritation crossed her face. She gripped the needle and drove it hard into my arm. Oops. Missed the vein. You don't mind, do you? Diana deliberately stabbed me several more times, leaving my arm bruised purple and blue. By then I couldn't feel pain anymore. Well, I'll give you credit for enduring it. No sense of collective spirit at all. Everyone's donating and you're here pretending to faint. It's only 400 milliliters. Everyone managed. You're the only one acting delicate. She swapped out the blood bags without looking up, muttering under her breath. Victoria Belova is such a respected person. How could she have raised a daughter this selfish and irresponsible? The students lined up behind me began whispering. I heard she has severe anemia and still came. Did she actually die? No way. The nurse said she was faking it. Besides, Mrs. Belova dotes on her so much. If something had really happened, would she still be standing there so calm? As they talked, the looks they gave me turned increasingly contemptuous. I floated in midair, desperate, turning toward my mother. Her brows were tightly furrowed, her gaze full of disappointment and disgust. Anna Belova, stop pretending. Your classmates are all watching. Get up this instant. But I remained motionless. Diana paused, her hands still pressed against my arm, then sighed toward my mother. Mrs. Belova, if she refuses to cooperate like this, should we even continue? We've only taken 100 milliliters. The other students all donated 400 and none of them made such a fuss. She even threatened me earlier, said she's the department head's daughter, and demanded I record other students' donations under her name. Otherwise, she'd report me to the administration. Maybe we should just forget about taking her blood this time. Instinctively, I tried to explain. But no sound came out. My mother's face darkened. She drove her foot hard into my lower back. My body was already limp. The kick sent me crashing heavily onto the floor. You've truly disappointed me. Since when did you learn to bully people with your position? How did I end up raising a daughter like you? I lay motionless on the ground. My mother stepped forward and stamped hard on my wrist. Anna, pretending to be dead in front of everyone just to embarrass me. Are you proud of yourself? Do you think being my daughter gives you special treatment? The biggest mistake of my life was insisting on giving birth to you in the first place. Several people nearby gasped sharply. Diana covered her mouth, but the delight in her eyes was impossible to hide. My heart clenched painfully, like someone had twisted it with both hands. Mom had gone through 3 rounds of IVF before finally conceiving me. I had seen the dense injection marks covering her stomach. I knew how much she had suffered just to bring me into this world. Then I was born premature and developed chronic anemia. To care for me, she learned massage therapy and nutritional cooking. She filled notebooks with handwritten recipes. Every time I got sick, she stayed awake all night in fear. But after I entered university, everything changed. She was the head of the academic department. On the first day of term, she sat me down and told me that at school we needed to avoid any appearance of favoritism and maintain absolute fairness. To prevent suspicion, she gave away the national scholarship that should have gone to me and handed it to the second-place student instead. "You're my daughter," she said calmly. "If you receive this award, people will say I abused my position. You need to understand, we have to avoid suspicion." She also gave my regional competition spot to another student, even though I had earned it myself. "Anna, don't blame me. There are too many people watching someone in my position." Again and again I chose to understand her. Again and again I swallowed the unfairness. But this time, just to avoid suspicion, she had forced me, someone with severe anemia, to participate in the blood drive. "Precisely because you're my daughter, you should be setting an example. Everyone else is donating. If you refuse, what will people think of me?" And now she was saying she regretted giving birth to me. I floated in midair, staring down at my own body on the floor. My arms were covered in needle marks, bruised purple and blue. I was not pretending to be dead. I was dead. Diana carried a blood bag over and gave my body a few performative tugs. "Anna, please get up. There's only 200 milliliters left to draw." Instead of lifting me, she stumbled backward and fell dramatically onto the floor. The blood bag slipped from her hand. Dark red blood splashed across the ground. My body, which had just been half lifted, crashed heavily into the pool of blood. My white shirt was soaked through instantly, making me look even more like a corpse. Diana bit her lip, her eyes suddenly reddening. "Anna, why are you making things difficult for me? I was only trying to help you up. Why did you push me? Now look what happened. All the blood we just collected has been wasted." Her shoulders trembled as she sobbed, as though she had suffered some unbearable injustice. "You have no idea how jealous I am of you for having such a wonderful mother. We're about the same age, but you get to enjoy campus life while I work myself to death as a nurse, only to get bullied by you." Standing beside them, I could only feel the absurdity of it. How could a dead person push her? But Mom believed it. She walked over, gently wrapped an arm around Diana, and patted her back. "Don't cry. As long as I'm here, I won't let her bully you again." I froze. I stared blankly at my mother. Then she turned toward my body on the floor, disgust filling her eyes. "Since she insists on pretending to be dead to avoid donating, I won't cover for her anymore. The blood that spilled can be drawn again. Reinsert the needle and continue. Let's see how long she keeps up this act." The students waiting behind us immediately began criticizing me. So she really was faking it. "Mrs. Belova is usually so gentle, and even she got angry. She's only acting out because her mom's the department head. Good thing Mrs. Belova doesn't indulge her. It's just a blood donation. Did she really need to pretend to die?" At that moment the dean arrived outside the donation bus, having heard the commotion. The second he saw me lying there surrounded by blood, his expression changed drastically. "Mrs. Belova, what happened to the student? Should we call an ambulance?" Mom turned and sighed softly. "This is my daughter. She's pretending to be dead to avoid donating blood. The blood on the ground is from her deliberately throwing the bag during a tantrum. There's no need to worry. The more I give in to her, the more dramatic she becomes. She needs to be shown some discipline." The dean tried to calm things down. "Mrs. Belova, blood donation should be voluntary. If she really doesn't want to participate, then let's leave it at that." With that, he turned and left. Mom lowered her eyes and glanced at me. The anger in her gaze only burned hotter. "Still not getting up? Fine. Stay on the floor while they draw your blood. Diana, just do it like this. Once you're done, leave her there. If she wants to lie there pretending, let her. Don't hold up the students behind her." After saying that, Mom left without sparing me another look. Diana picked up the needle and bag and drove the needle viciously into my vein. She didn't stop until she had drawn the full 400 milliliters. When she finished, she nudged me with her foot. "You can get up now." The blood's already been taken. There's no point acting anymore. Besides, Mrs. Belova isn't even here. Nobody's watching your performance. When I didn't move, Diana let out a mocking laugh and called toward the line behind her. Can I get 2 strong male students over here? Carry this drama queen outside so she doesn't affect everyone else donating. I floated there in midair, watching my body get dumped onto the sidewalk, bitterness swelling in my chest. 2 hours later, the blood drive ended. Some students rubbed their sore arms while glancing in my direction, sympathy flickering in their eyes. Anna's physically pretty weak. If they leave her out there in the sun like that, won't something happen? Diana happened to be walking past with the donation records in hand. She rolled her eyes. I know you mean well, but she's obviously faking it. You'd better stay away from her. Be careful she doesn't drag you into paying her medical bills. I've seen plenty of people like that. Another student who had witnessed everything chimed in immediately. Anna just relies on the fact that her mom's the department head. Acts like a spoiled princess all the time. Now she's pretending to pass out and embarrassing the whole school. Exactly. She just wants everyone to pity her and coax her back. The students who had worried about me immediately backed away, afraid of getting dragged into trouble. Diana felt much more satisfied. She turned and walked into Mom's office with the donation records. Mrs. Belova, these are today's records. If everything looks fine, please sign here. Mom's eyes landed on the line showing I had donated 400 milliliters, and the tension in her brow slowly eased. Where's Anna? Didn't I assign her to help as a volunteer today? Diana lowered her head, hesitating as though unsure whether to speak. About her. I kindly asked someone to help her up earlier, but she said that unless you personally came to comfort her, she wasn't getting up. Mom's expression instantly darkened. Mrs. Belova, Anna's been lying there for a long time now. This really can't continue. Why not give in a little? At least get her up first. Mom slammed the donation records onto the desk. I've spoiled her too much. That's why she's developed such a terrible temper. If she refuses to give in, then let her stay on the ground forever. Under the blazing sun, the temperature kept climbing. Students gradually retreated to their dormitories. The smell of decay slowly began to seep from my body, drawing over the stray cats that roamed the campus grounds. I lay there completely helpless, unable to run, unable to call for help, watching them circle closer, while the campus that had judged me went on with its day. Even after death, I was still waiting for someone to notice I had not been pretending. My soul drifted desperately toward my mother's office, only to find her chatting happily with Diana. Diana was leafing through my mother's notebook with wide-eyed amazement. Wow, Mrs. Belova, are these all the nutritional meals you made for Anna? Every dish has instructions and health benefits written down. You must have been keeping this for years. The moment I saw the notebook in her hands, my eyes stung. My mother had started writing in it the day I was born. She always said that as long as she followed the recipes inside, I would grow up healthy and strong. Mom stared at the worn pages, her gaze briefly turning distant. She seemed to sink into old memories. After a long pause, she sighed softly and gently patted Diana's hair. If only she were even half as sensible as you. Just then the dean hurried into the office. Mrs. Belova, isn't your daughter still lying outside? It's over 30 degrees out there. I heard she's in poor health. If she gets heat stroke, that will be a real problem. Mom's hand paused briefly on Diana's hair. She's incredibly spoiled. There's no way she'd actually let herself suffer in the sun. I know my own daughter. She's throwing a tantrum on purpose. The more attention I give her, the more dramatic she gets. Once she gets tired of lying there, she'll get up herself. The dean shook his head, sighed helplessly, and left. A few minutes later, someone knocked. For a brief moment, Mom visibly relaxed. But when she saw the students who entered, the faint smile beginning to form on her lips froze entirely. It was not me finally broken and coming to apologize. The students who entered were pale. One clutched the doorframe so hard his knuckles had gone white. A girl stood behind him with tears gathering in her eyes, looking like she wanted to speak but couldn't force the words out. Mrs. Belova. The faint smile froze. Why are you here? The boy swallowed. Mrs. Belova, Anna still isn't moving. Mom's face darkened instantly. Then leave her alone. She wants attention. If everyone keeps gathering around her, she'll only become more dramatic. The girl shook her head. No, Mrs. Belova. Her skin is cold. For the first time, something flickered across my mother's eyes. Not fear, annoyance trying to become fear and failing. Diana stood up so quickly her chair scraped the floor. Cold? She's been lying under the sun. Of course her skin feels strange. She's probably just exhausted herself performing. The boy's voice cracked. We called emergency services. Mrs. Belova slammed her palm onto the desk. Who told you to do that? Nobody answered. The dean appeared in the doorway then, breathless and sweating, his face gray. Behind him, the sound of sirens grew louder across campus. My soul drifted beside my mother, watching her expression finally begin to break. She stood too fast, knocking the old nutrition notebook off the desk. The pages fluttered open. One yellowed sheet landed face up, a recipe for iron-rich soup she had once made for me every winter. She didn't look at it. She rushed outside. I followed. My body was still on the sidewalk, surrounded by students who no longer dared to whisper. The sun had shifted, leaving half my face in light and half in shadow. My arm was covered in needle marks. One wrist carried a darkening print where my mother's shoe had crushed it. Paramedics knelt beside me. They worked fast, too fast for hope. One checked my pulse. Another lifted my eyelid. Someone called for space. Someone asked why a student with this condition had been left outside in the heat. Mrs. Belova stood 3 steps away. She's pretending. No one answered her. She's always dramatic. The paramedic looked up. Who is her guardian? The dean pointed shakily. Mrs. Belova. Her mother. The paramedic's eyes changed. Ma'am, your daughter has no pulse. Mrs. Belova shook her head. No. We are going to attempt resuscitation, but she appears to have been unresponsive for some time. No. She was pretending. Her voice grew thin, almost childlike. She was just angry with me. I floated above them and watched the woman who had ordered my blood to be drawn stare at my lifeless face, like the world had made an accounting error. The first time my mother believed me, I was no longer alive to hear it. They tried to revive me. The students cried then. Some covered their mouths. Some backed away. Some kept repeating, I thought she was faking, as though saying it enough times would make my heart start again. Diana stood frozen near the donation bus. Then she moved. Not toward me. Toward the records table. Her hands shook as she grabbed the donation log. She flipped pages wildly, her face draining with every line. Then she took a pen and tried to cross something out. The dean saw her. What are you doing? Diana jerked her hand back. Nothing. I was checking the record. You were changing it. No, I wasn't. Everyone was looking at my body. Diana had chosen the one moment she thought no one would watch the living. But I was watching. Mrs. Belova staggered toward the paramedics. She has anemia. The paramedic looked up sharply. That should have been screened before donation. She has always been weak, but she exaggerates. She didn't want to donate. Her voice died. Because she remembered. I had told her again and again. She remembered the medical records. The iron infusions. The notes in her own handwriting. The years of carefully measured meals. Diana began crying. Loudly. Mrs. Belova told me to continue. I was only following the department head's instructions. Anna was resisting. She threatened me. She said if I didn't record other donations under her name, she'd ruin my career. Mrs. Belova stared at Diana, stunned. What did you say? Diana sobbed harder. I was scared. You're the department head. I couldn't disobey. You said she had to finish 400 milliliters today, even if it killed her. Those were my mother's words. The room heard them. The dean heard them. The students heard them. My mother swayed. I didn't mean, a paramedic spoke from behind her. Stop discussing blame and move back. My mother stepped back as though struck. After they took my body away, the university did what institutions do when a student dies under a banner bearing their logo. They closed doors. They called meetings. They discussed wording. The first draft of the statement called it an unexpected medical event. The second called it a tragic accident during a voluntary campus blood donation activity. The third removed my name. Mrs. Belova sat through all of it like a statue. At first, I thought grief had finally hollowed her out. Then the dean asked whether the records showed I had voluntarily signed the consent form. Her head lifted. If this becomes a scandal, the entire department will be destroyed. I stared at her. Even then, even after seeing my body, Reputation sat beside my corpse and still got a chair. Diana cried in a corner and kept repeating that she had been pressured. That Anna had bullied her. That Mrs. Belova had insisted. That she was young, inexperienced, frightened. Every version saved one person, herself. Students began posting online. The department head's daughter died after donating blood. Someone said she had severe anemia. Someone else replied that she had faked fainting all the time. Another student wrote that Diana had cried after being bullied. One person uploaded a blurry photo of my body on the sidewalk before deleting it. Too late. Mrs. Belova returned to her office near sunset. The old nutrition notebook still lay on the floor. She picked it up slowly. A dried flower fell from between the pages. I recognized it. When I was 6, I had picked it from the university garden and given it to her as a thank you for making bitter medicine taste better. Her fingers began to tremble. She turned the pages. Pumpkin millet porridge for a weak stomach. Red date soup for winter fatigue. Iron-rich chicken liver recipe. Anna hates it but needs it. Anna's fever, age 9. Refused medicine until I promised honey water. Anna smiled today. Mrs. Belova pressed the notebook to her chest and finally collapsed to the floor. Anna. Her grief was real. That was the cruelest part. She had loved me once. She had simply loved her reputation more when it mattered. The office blurred around me. Her sobs faded. The campus lights stretched into long white lines. Then everything went black. I woke up choking. My hand flew to my arm. Smooth skin. No bruises. No needle marks. No dried blood. My dormitory ceiling stared down at me, plain and familiar. My phone vibrated on the pillow. A message from Victoria Belova lit the screen. Be at the blood donation drive by 9. Don't embarrass me. For a long time I couldn't move. Then I looked at the date. Morning of the blood donation drive. I was alive. In the first life, I died trying to prove I wasn't selfish. In this one, I would let them prove what they were. I didn't cry. Crying belonged to the girl who had begged her mother to believe she was sick. That girl had died on a sidewalk. I got out of bed. The first call I made was to my hematologist. The clinic had my records. Severe anemia. Low hemoglobin history. Prior fainting episodes. Clear contraindication for blood donation without medical clearance. The nurse emailed a certificate within 20 minutes after hearing the urgency in my voice. Then I opened my old files. Scholarship rankings. First place, Anna Belova. Final recipient, second place student. Regional competition selection list. Top score, Anna Belova. Final recommended student, another name. Email from Mrs. Belova from last year. Anna, I know you earned it, but you must understand my position. If my daughter takes the slot, people will talk. Be sensible. I saved everything. Then I wrote 5 scheduled emails to the dean, to the student affairs office, to the hospital ethics board, to the blood donation organization, and to the campus media account that loved exposing administrative misconduct more than finals week. Subject line. Urgent. Medical exemption ignored and coercion at campus blood donation drive. I attached the anemia certificate, past lab results, Mrs. Belova's message ordering me to attend, the scholarship evidence, the competition records, and a short note. If I have not responded by 10:30, please review immediately. I am being pressured to donate blood despite a medical exemption. Scheduled for 10:30. Then I set my phone to record. A second recorder went into my jacket pocket. My smartwatch was charged and synced to cloud storage. At 8:57, I arrived at the donation bus. Everything was the same. The red banner. The line of students. The smell of alcohol wipes. Diana Marsh standing near the donation table with a smile that had only looked harmless before I watched her lie over my body. Mrs. Belova stood beside the dean, praising the students. This is what collective spirit looks like. Voluntary dedication. Social responsibility. Her gaze landed on me. Warning sharpened in her eyes. I walked up and handed Diana my medical certificate. I have severe anemia. My doctor says I am not eligible to donate. Diana barely glanced at it. Her mouth curled. How convenient. Mrs. Belova's face darkened. Anna. I turned my phone slightly in my pocket. Mom, are you confirming that even with a severe anemia certificate, you still want me to donate? Several students looked over. Mrs. Belova's expression tightened. She hated public questions that didn't flatter her. Everyone else is donating. You are my daughter. You should set an example. So the medical certificate doesn't matter? Don't twist my words. Diana snatched the paper from my hand and slapped it onto the table. Students like you always have excuses. Only 400 milliliters. Everyone else can do it. What makes you so special? Blood donation is voluntary, isn't it? Her eyes flashed. Voluntary doesn't mean selfish people get to hide behind paperwork. I looked at her hand resting near the needle tray. If I feel faint, will you stop? She laughed. After 100 milliliters, people start acting like they're dying. Honestly, students who pretend to be sick should have double drawn as punishment. The recorder caught every word. My pulse was steady. Not because I was calm, because rage has its own rhythm. Mrs. Belova stepped closer. Anna, stop embarrassing me. There it was. Not. Are you safe? Not. Let me check. Me. Embarrassing her. I sat in the chair. Not because I would let them take my blood again. Because the stage needed one more line. Diana tied the band around my arm roughly. I pulled back. I do not consent to donate without medical clearance. Her fingers clamped around my wrist. Stop acting. The students around us went quiet. Diana leaned close, voice low and vicious. You think being the department head's daughter makes you special? Today, everyone will see you're just a spoiled coward. Before the needle touched my skin, a sharp voice came from the bus entrance. Step away from the student. Diana froze. The hospital's donation supervisor climbed into the bus, followed by 2 staff members wearing inspection badges. Behind them stood the dean, pale, sweating, holding his phone like it had burned him. The emails had gone out early. I had needed to wait until 10:30. But my cloud backup had sent an alert the moment my smartwatch recorded abnormal stress and my phone detected the words "do not consent." Technology had better timing than my mother ever had. The supervisor's eyes fell on Diana's hand pinning my wrist. Remove your hand. Diana let go as if my skin had turned hot. Mrs. Belova stepped forward. There seems to be a misunderstanding. My daughter is emotional and I lifted my medical certificate from the table. No misunderstanding. I submitted proof of anemia. I stated I did not consent. Nurse Diana Marsh dismissed the exemption and restrained me. Diana's face twisted. She's lying. I pressed play. Diana's voice filled the bus. Students who pretend to be sick should have double drawn as punishment. The bus went silent. Diana's lips turned white. The supervisor looked at her. Is that your voice? I was frustrated. She was provoking me. The recording continued. I do not consent to donate without medical clearance. Stop acting. Diana Marsh, you are removed from duty immediately pending investigation. Diana's eyes widened. No, you don't understand. Mrs. Belova told me, Mrs. Belova's face went cold. I told you to follow proper procedure. My soul remembered Diana crying in the first life, blaming my mother. Now both of them were alive and betraying each other early. Good. The dean looked at me, then at Mrs. Belova. Anna, you also sent documents about scholarship reassignment and competition records. Mrs. Belova's head snapped toward him. What documents? I stood slowly. The students outside had begun recording. Their phones were raised, faces tense with the particular electricity of watching power crack open from the inside. I looked straight at my mother. You spent years proving you would never favor your daughter. Congratulations, Mom. Today everyone saw you would rather bury me than protect me. Her face strained. Anna, what nonsense are you saying? I opened my folder. Scholarship rankings, competition score sheets, her emails, her approval signatures. National scholarship. I earned it. You gave it away. Regional competition spot. I earned it. You gave it away. Medical exemption. I submitted it. You ignored it. The dean took the pages with trembling fingers. Students whispered behind us. I didn't know she was first place. Mrs. Belova gave it away? Wasn't Anna called selfish for complaining about that last year? Mrs. Belova's hand shook. I did it to avoid suspicion. No, Mom. You purchased reputation with my future. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Diana suddenly grabbed the supervisor's sleeve. Mrs. Belova pressured everyone. She said her daughter had to donate 400 milliliters no matter what. I only followed the department head's expectations. The supervisor pulled her arm away. You restrained a medically exempt student. You ignored a withdrawal of consent. Diana looked around for sympathy and found none. The hardworking nurse performance had died on camera. The dean tried to intervene. Let's move this to a conference room. I turned to him. Is blood donation voluntary? His face stiffened. Yes. Can a medical exemption be ignored because a department head worries about public image? No. Can scholarship awards be reassigned to avoid gossip? He swallowed. That requires review. Can you explain why you received my documents last year and never replied? The students made a low sound. His eyes moved to the cameras. At that moment, he understood what the first dean in my first life had not. Walking away was no longer safe. Victoria Belova is suspended from administrative duties pending investigation. Mrs. Belova staggered. Michael, the dean did not look at her. Diana Marsh is removed from the donation site. The drive is suspended until screening procedures are reviewed. The red banner outside shifted in the wind. For the first time, it looked less like public virtue and more like evidence. Diana collapsed before they could escort her out. Not fainting, kneeling. Anna, please. I was just angry. I work so hard. You don't know what it's like to have nothing. I saw you, the department head's daughter, and I looked down at her. You envied the life you thought I had. So you tried to take the blood from the body that was barely surviving it. Her sobs caught. My career will be ruined. You chose a needle as punishment. Don't cry because the record kept the wound. The supervisor ordered security to take her badge. Diana clutched it for one desperate second before letting go. By noon, the campus knew. Not through rumors this time. Through recordings. Through screenshots. Through documents with dates and signatures. The donation drive was suspended. The hospital issued a statement confirming a nurse had been removed pending ethics review for coercion, restraint, and violation of medical exemption protocol. The Student Affairs Office announced a formal review of scholarship allocation and competition recommendations within Mrs. Belova's department. The same students who would have mocked me in my first life now avoided my eyes. One girl came up to me outside the academic building. Anna, I'm sorry. I thought you were just trying to get out of it. I looked at her. Why? She lowered her head. Because everyone said so. Next time, ask who benefits when everyone says so. She began crying. I walked past her. I didn't need every apology. I needed the truth to stop bleeding. Diana's downfall became official within a week. Her hospital suspended her. The nursing board opened an investigation. The blood donation organization blacklisted her from all campus and mobile donation events. A legal complaint was filed for medical misconduct, coercion, assault, and attempted falsification after footage showed her reaching for the records table the moment she realized the inspection team had arrived. She tried 3 versions of defense. Anna threatened me. Mrs. Belova pressured me. I was young and inexperienced. The recordings answered all 3. Her name circulated across every nursing forum attached to one sentence. The nurse who wanted to punish an anemic student with a double blood draw. No clinic wanted that headline. Mrs. Belova lasted longer. Power always dies slower when it has an office. At first, she claimed she had only wanted fairness. Then she claimed she hadn't understood the severity of my anemia. Then the investigation recovered her old medical notes, the nutrition notebook, and emails she had sent to my doctors when I was younger. She had known everything. Every number. Every risk. Every warning. The scholarship review confirmed I had been the rightful recipient. The award was restored in my name with back payment. The competition committee issued a formal correction stating I had earned the regional spot and had been improperly bypassed. Since the original competition had passed, the university arranged an equivalent sponsored research opportunity and a public recommendation letter. Mrs. Belova's title as department head was removed before the semester ended. The notice was brief. Administrative misconduct. Abuse of authority. Improper interference in student awards. Coercive conduct during a voluntary medical activity. Students read it on the bulletin board in clusters. Some looked satisfied. Some looked uncomfortable. Everyone read it. The dean also faced review. His failure to act on prior complaints and his attempt to treat the blood drive as a reputation issue rather than a consent issue cost him his clean record. He kept a position, but not the same authority. A formal apology bearing his signature was emailed campus-wide. Blood donation policies changed. Medical screening became mandatory. Refusal could not be questioned by faculty. No department head could pressure student participation. Consent had to be confirmed privately, away from teachers and peers. The place that had drained me in the first life now had to write rules around the shape of my survival. Mrs. Belova came to my dormitory 2 weeks after her suspension. I didn't invite her in. She stood in the hallway holding the old nutrition notebook. Her hair looked uncombed. Her eyes were swollen. For the first time in my life, she looked less like a department head and more like a mother who had misplaced her child and found only evidence. Anna. I said nothing. She opened the notebook with trembling fingers. I wrote every page because I wanted you to live. I looked at the woman who had ordered them to continue drawing my blood while my soul screamed above my body. Then why did I have to die before you remembered? Her face crumpled. Anna, you didn't die. You're standing right here. Not in this life. That was the mercy she didn't deserve, and the curse I would never explain. She reached for me. I stepped back. Her hand fell. I was wrong. Yes. I thought if I treated you harshly, people would see I was fair. No, Mom. You wanted strangers to call you fair more than you wanted your daughter alive. She sobbed then, real sobs, the kind that shook her shoulders and sent her sliding slowly toward the hallway wall. I love you. I looked at the notebook. At all the recipes. At all the pages written by a mother who had once counted my breaths at night. I know. Hope lifted in her eyes. Then I finished. But your love became something I had to survive. The hope died. Good. False hope is just another way to postpone pain. She clutched the notebook to her chest. Can we start over? No. You don't get to use my life to rebuild your reputation. You don't get to decide my awards, my health, my choices, my sacrifices. You don't get to make me proof of your morality anymore. Her lips trembled. What am I supposed to do? Live with what you chose. I closed the door. For a long time she cried on the other side. I sat on the floor on my side and didn't open it. That was the first boundary I had ever kept with her. It hurt. But it didn't kill me. Spring came. My scholarship certificate arrived in a thick envelope. My corrected competition record was posted on the university website. The research opportunity came with funding and a supervisor outside Mrs. Belova's department. For once, no one told me to give it away. I stood outside the old donation bus months later when it returned to campus under new rules. The red banner had different wording now. Voluntary donation. Medical screening required. Consent may be withdrawn at any time. Students passed by quietly. Some recognized me and looked away. Diana was gone. Mrs. Belova's office had a new nameplate. The dean's apology still sat archived on the university website. I held my scholarship certificate in one hand and my medical exemption card in the other. My blood stayed inside my body. My future stayed in my name. In my first life, they drained my blood to protect her reputation. In this one, I let the truth bleed them dry instead. My mother taught me that fairness meant sacrificing myself. So I taught her the last lesson she ever gave as department head. Justice is not the same as reputation. The first time I lay beneath that donation banner, they called me selfish until I died. The second time, I stood under it alive and watched every person who had called me selfish lose the right to speak over my body. Mrs. Belova once wrote recipes to keep me alive. Then she offered my blood to protect her name. In the end, she kept neither the daughter nor the reputation she loved more.